How's it going, everyone? It's me, Deus here. I'm back with part 2 to my original video talking about faction stacking, server zerging, map painting, whatever you choose to call it. They all fall under the same umbrella statement anyways. So, in the original video, I remember talking about faction stacking and how it negatively affects PvP from the side of the people being server zerged. But in this video, I thought about what if I talked about what it's like being on the faction that's doing it and what it feels like being on the side of the faction that is doing it. So yeah, there is a case to be made for the side that is doing the server zerging. Now, I still maintain my opinion that people that do server zerging are ruining PvP slowly. But this is basically me arguing for the people that aren't involved in the server zerging and why it's detrimental for people that are just on that faction that are playing normally and how it ruins the experience for them too. Now, for those of you that don't know, I play on all three factions in this game. I play Ebonheart Pact, Alderberry Dominion, and Daggerfall Covenant. And I know firsthand what it's like to both be server zerged and be on the faction that's doing it, and I know how much it really sucks. Now, I know what you're gonna say. You're probably thinking, well, if you play on all three factions, why not just swap to another faction when one faction does the server zerging? That way you never have to worry about not being able to PvP. And well, yes, that is a very fair argument. It still sucks because there are characters on AD, characters on DC, and characters on EP that I enjoy playing that I cannot play for obvious reasons. If my faction is server zerging, I can't play my certain characters. Like this character I'm playing right now, my Stamina Necromancer, is on EP. I like playing this character, but if EP server zerging, for example, I won't be able to play it. Or if AD server zerging, I can't play my Dragon Knight, and so on and so forth. I play all classes in this game, and I enjoy playing all the classes. And what I don't enjoy is being barred from playing on certain characters. Like, if one faction is server zerging, I obviously won't be able to play that faction because there's not going to be any competition because we own everything. So the only thing I'd be able to do at that point is swap to another campaign like Greyhost, for example, which obviously is very laggy and very unplayable. And ideally, I don't want to play in lag, so the only option in that case is play Battlegrounds or log off. Of course, I could just alliance change my characters onto a different faction, but alliance change tokens aren't that great either, because the Cyrodiil map is dynamic. It never stays the same. One faction might be dominating or losing one time, and then another faction might win within, let's say, 3 months. It's constantly changing, so alliance changing is not really going to solve the problem for me, because the campaign will always change with time. As you're seeing now on screen, that night that I was playing on that Stamina Necromancer, this is what Blackreach looks like now. It went from being owned by blue to being owned by red. Currently it's flip-flopping between AD owning it and EP owning it, so like I said, it's dynamic. Alliance change tokens aren't going to solve the problem because the campaign is constantly going to be changing hands, and that's the problem that I'm presenting. And even if you try to play on the faction that is doing the faction stacking, there's nothing but this happening at every keep. So yeah, even if you try to go to the winning faction to find some type of action, you're not going to get that action because the people that are trying to take keeps, they're just going to get zerged down in 2 seconds. So whether you're playing on the faction stacking alliance or whether you're playing on the alliance getting faction stacked, you lose. So a little bit of a story time. I first started playing this game about 5 years ago, and during that time, I mained Daggerfall Covenant. I played nothing but DC until about, I want to say October of last year. which I started swapping characters over to AD because at the time, Greyhost was my primary campaign, and the faction stacking that DC was doing was getting way too much. I distinctly remember there was at least 3 days in a row where Daggerfall Covenant owned the entire map. Not even a single resource was flipped to red or yellow. And for that reason, I just switched over all my characters to yellow, just so that way I could actually play the game. So I decided to play in Greyhost for the first time in nearly a year to see if anything has changed, and ironically not, it's still the same. DC's servers are getting like hell in Greyhost, and it's basically unplayable if you're on that faction. And these next few clips that I'm going to show are pretty much going to be DC zerging every reach of the map in Greyhost. Now in this clip I was playing on my Magic and Necromancer in Greyhost, and I just decided to show up to a fight between Blue and EP to see if I can secure some kills and just like gank the back of their siege line basically. So I'm basically just hitting up a few guys in the back of the siege line, but then EP catch wind of that, so then I try to mist form away from the group to get a little bit of line of sight. Now I will admit I did make a huge oversight when I joined this fight. I had no clue just how many blues there were. As you see in this clip, I'm still mist forming away. I ran past this blue group, and I didn't quite realize how many blues there were because I was focused on myself and keeping myself alive at the moment, so I didn't get wind of just how many there were. But when I go back down to re-engage in a few seconds, I come to realize just how many blues were actually at this place. So at this point, I'm just hitting a few blues down in the fight to see if I can't bring somebody to me to get a fight myself when a few blues start to engage me. So I'm trying to see who's squishy, but I'm taking a lot of heat, and soon enough more and more blues start to show up, and I'm just like, oh shit, and I start to mist form away to see if I can't bait them into the red group and use the reds as bait essentially. So at this point, I managed to get away, and I'm trying to get resources back when I start to realize that the EP group basically wiped here, and I realized just how many blues were here as well, and I'm like, oh shit, I need to get out of here. So I try to mist form away, but it doesn't matter. They steamroll me with the amount of people that they have here, and it seems like they steamrolled the EP group as well. It's crazy just how many were here defending this. So in this clip, I got on my Templar and I teleported over to Nickel, and I was going to head up towards Ash to see if I couldn't find any action up there. And when I went through the Mile Gate, I noticed there's this casual DC Zerg just chilling here. So I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not going to jump into that. So I just went up to the tower, and I'm a little shocked just how many blues there are just chilling at the gate. As you can see here, this is what the map of Greyhost looked like at the time that I recorded these clips. And by the way, this is about lunchtime Eastern Standard Time, so this is well before prime time. And their faction was pop locked, and they completely controlled the entire campaign. And this is what I mean. So yeah, there is a point to this video which I intend to get to, and that point is being, no matter where you go, no matter what faction you're on, server zerging serves to help nobody. It doesn't help the people that are doing the server zerging, it doesn't help the people that are getting server zerged, because no matter where you go, you won't be able to do anything, because one faction will control everything, and then they're just going to sit and camp every part of the map and not allow you to do anything on the map. And that's why I think faction stacking is bad for PvP. It doesn't bring anything good to PvP. If there's any takeaway from these two videos I've made, it's that Azaz needs to do something about these mega zergs going around in PvP across all platforms, because the way things are right now, you can just run around solo in the middle of a 40-50 man group and just light attack people to death while face tanking in the middle of an enemy group, not even having to worry about yourself, because the green bars around you can just spam their off heals on you and keep you alive. And genuinely, I think that's not good for PvP. Like, If they were to do something like turning off cross healing, I think that would actually make PvP better for both sides. Like with Zergs, they would be more willing to pick up healers, so healers wouldn't have to run around solo. Because if you can't share heals with green bars, then healers will be way more valued than they were before. So I think it's a win-win. But yeah, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, and that's about it.